Dad gave me some words of wisdom when I started dating. He said, "Son, high-valued men don't tolerate any kind of disrespect, manipulation, or lies from girls or women. Be true to yourself and always be a high-valued man." Well, this is when my turmoil started. Bad news, sweetheart. The merger meeting has just been moved up and I need to leave tomorrow morning and won't be back until late Sunday. I know how important this wedding is to you, especially because you're the maid of honor. You need to understand that I just got this promotion to CFO and I can't miss the meeting because there's too much riding on it for the company and our future. You'll have to go without me. I'm sorry. Are you serious? You know how long we've planned this. And now at the last minute, you're going to cancel and I'll be there alone. Do you have any idea how embarrassing that will be for me? Isn't there anything you can do? Can't someone else go in your place? Vera, this deal is valued at over $2 billion, and I lead this project. You know how hard we've worked on it over the last year and no, there is nobody else that can take my place. Too many people's jobs depend on our success. I'm sorry. I know this is difficult, and I'll make it up to you with the bonus money. We'll see from this deal. I know you're angry, but there's nothing I can do. I'll be back on Sunday. To say she was pissed was an understatement. She stopped talking to me and told me to sleep in the guest room. No intimacy or sex before my trip. That wasn't normal. Her coldness and anger were also a lot of character. I tried to understand, but was unable to alleviate her anger. So I packed for my trip and slept in the guest room that night. I knew the wedding was important to her because of all the struggles her lifelong friend, Carol, had gone through. Her ex-husband cheated on her during her life-threatening illness and abandoned her because he couldn't watch her slow death. He took the coward's way out. It devastated Carol and didn't help her situation. But after a miraculous recovery, Carol filed for divorce due to abandonment and lived with depression for the next 5 years. All her friends and family were there for her and tried to cheer her up to no avail. Then one day she met a guy at the grocery store and her world flourished and she became her old self. Once again, her friends and family's prayers were answered and everyone wanted to celebrate the joyous occasion. Brandon, her fiancé, loved her deeply and planned this fantastic wedding. Vera was her best friend and the maid of honor. She was there for her friend the entire time. I knew this was important to Vera and I hated having to cancel, but there was nothing I could do. I knew that I would have to make it up to her and somehow deal with her anger. Before leaving on my trip the next morning, I tried to give Vera a kiss goodbye, but the door to our bedroom was locked and she wasn't about to open it for me. I told her I loved her and would call her when I landed in Germany. Without any reply, I sadly walked to the waiting limo that drove me to the airport. I felt terrible and unhappy about her actions and not understanding my situation. After 19 years of marriage, I would have expected more tolerance and caring. I called her before the flight, but her cell phone went right to voicemail. I left her a message apologizing once again, hoping for a reply. I sent another text before takeoff and another when I landed 10 hours later. Still no reply, no voicemails, no texts. I knew she was pissed and that I would have a great deal of apologizing to get back in her good graces. With no other choice, I called our twin girls at college and told them about my trip and how my work plans had changed, that their mom was angry with me and not returning my calls. I asked them not to say anything and just to check in on her to make sure she was okay, that I was worried about her, and that I would feel much better if they could let me know she was okay. They understood and told me they loved me. They've always been daddy's girls and I love them dearly. Germany. When I got to the hotel, I called my CEO to get an update, and to my horror, the meeting had just been canceled because the CEO of the other company had a death in his family and would have to reschedule. I immediately called the airlines and got a direct flight into Chicago O'Hare, which was only 30 minutes from the reception. Since the wedding reception started at 7 p.m., I figured I could get there by 9 p.m. and be a good husband. I was sure that would make her happy. After getting the rental car, the GPS gave me directions to the reception hall. It was a little after 9 when I entered the reception and the celebration was in full swing. The music was loud. Everyone was dancing and the liquor was freely flowing. There were lots of drunk people partying and enjoying the celebration. It was indeed a happy occasion and I was happy. I could attend and anxious to be with my wife. There were over 200 people at the reception and I couldn't see Vera. When I came in, I walked over to the open bar and ordered a double bourbon, stepped to the side, and scanned the crowd for my wife. I reflected on our past and how we got here. Vera was 5 years older than me and recently divorced. When we met, her ex-husband, Dr. Darrell Darlington, was a medical resident at Mercy Hospital. When they were divorced, Dr. Darlington, as he liked to be called, was caught cheating with one of the nurses at the hospital. When Vera found out, she kicked him out, devastated by his betrayal. She wanted children and a happy life, but the asshole destroyed her dreams. She divorced him and was depressed and penniless after the divorce because residents don't earn much money and the divorce simply split their holdings. She turned to waitressing and was barely making ends meet. Because of this episode in her life, she knew firsthand how Carol felt. When I met Vera, it was love at first sight. I fell head over heels for this lady. She may have been broken and depressed, but I knew she was a diamond in the rough. I saw her obvious beauty, but fell in love with her heart and her caring personality. I saved her from herself, turned her life around, and gave her 19 beautiful years filled with the love of our twin girls. Vera loved my no-nonsense attitude when it came to relationships. We constantly discussed loyalty and commitment, and this made her feel safe and secure. I made it clear that I was a loyal partner and would never put up with cheating in any way, and praised her for dumping her cheating husband, no matter how difficult it was. I explained that many people would put up with it to save a marriage, or to remain secure financially, and was proud of her strength to move on. That was the foundation of our marriage: trust, loyalty, and commitment. Until this damn wedding, I was living a wonderful life, completely fulfilled and in love. Vera looked great for 44, but I was 5 years younger and in great shape. In fact, at 39, I was in the prime of my life due to my constant gym workouts and 5K runs. I was at peak performance. She had a fantastic body, and we were excellent in the SEC. There was no issue with our age difference, and we had rarely discussed it over the years. We had raised two incredible twin girls, Katie and Carrie, who were now in college, 4 hours from home. They were happy and experiencing college life while getting ready for their future. We had a great family and a stable marriage. At least, that was my belief until I saw my wife sitting alone with Dr. Darlington, her ex-husband. I knew Darrell was a friend of Carol, the bride, but I didn't expect him to be at the wedding, let alone being here single without his wife. Tired from the travel and curious at what I was seeing, I stood there and watched them sitting alone. I was shocked at how very friendly they were considering their history. I decided to watch for a few minutes to see exactly what they were doing. It didn't take long for my world to deteriorate. I was about to approach them and break up their love fest, but before I could make my move, she stood up, took his hand, and led him onto the dance floor. She looked terrific in that tight, fitting ivory gown, and my heart went out to her, praying for this to be nothing more than a dance. Her forwardness shocked me as they danced to several slow songs. I nursed my drink and waited to see what happened next. I could tell that Vera had been drinking from the way she was flirting, which wasn't uncommon after several drinks. She always got horny and flirty with me, which was normal. What was not expected was her kissing another man who wasn't me and doing it openly in front of her friends. Everyone knew she was married to me, and that pissed me off even more. I felt humiliated and angry as I watched my wife give her love away, still frozen in shock. My blood was now boiling as I watched him openly grabbing her ass and kissing her as she responded in kind. My anger grew, and as I was about to approach them and break it up, when they walked back to the table and sat off to the side, they started making out like a honeymoon couple, and I could clearly see his hands on her breasts and her hand under the table. Just before I was about to confront him, I realized that my marriage was over. I remembered my father's words: high-value men don't tolerate disrespect. And I decided to act, but not in a violent way. I could have made a scene, disrupted the perfect wedding ceremony, stopped them, and prevented it from going further. But why? I thought if she wants him, she can have him. She is no longer mine. With a strange calm, I took out my phone, zoomed in, and took several close-up photos, a short video, and then sent her a text message. Well, I text, "Great news, honey. The meeting was postponed and I'm back. But it looks like you're in good hands tonight. I'll be heading back home, and I assume you'll be spending the night with Dr. Darlington. Now I understand why you haven't answered my calls or returned my text messages. Well, Have fun and enjoy the death of our marriage. I'll be going by the time you get home tomorrow." I hit send and watched calmly, wondering if she would pick up her phone and read the text. As I watched, I could see her phone light up with the notification of an incoming message. She saw it light up on the table and picked up the phone. She then started hitting some buttons, obviously looking for the message. Vera seemed to have sobered up quickly, as I saw the expression on her face become serious.